Today's episode of the Smifsonian features street artist UncuttArt, known for his Protect Your Heart stencils. And for those who don't know me, I got a story to tell. This is the Smifsonian. Stick around. Peace. Yes, this is T. Smif. Welcome to the Smifsonian audio exhibits for the lovers of the culture. On today's show, I have street artist UncuttArt, known for his Protect Your Heart stencils and tags. I really wanted to get into the understanding of what street art is, what's the culture of it, what's the rules. And we get into the fact that he developed a strong celebrity fan base with people like J-Lo, Madonna, and others always tagging his stuff. If any of y'all know or follow you know that he's an elusive character. He wears a mask everywhere he goes. He doesn't want his face to be seen, so this was an interesting conversation. I've known the brother for probably over 20 years myself, but he still, does what he do. So that's going to come up a little bit later. But what I wanted to do is take this opportunity just to kind of introduce myself to y'all a little bit. Most importantly, just let you know where I'm coming from. I'm a photographer and a cinematographer. I edit. I produce television shows, I write, and sometimes I act. But most importantly, I just try to live out the culture. I've been in this industry for over 25 years at this point, and so many stories to tell, but I think the most important story for me to tell right now is how I got started. Let me tell you a story. I had a camera in my hand ever since I was 9 years old. My father gave me a little 110 camera, the ones with the little cartridge that you had to put on the back. Through the years, I played with that camera, tried things out, took pictures. None that I could find to this day, I'm sure. But it was the experience of having it in my hand that I'm sure did wonders for me. I remember back in the days visiting my father in Florida, sitting in his bathroom, smelling all the chemicals from developing the pictures. That's one thing I don't miss, all them chemicals. From there, walking the streets of East New York where I was raised, honing my vision. It was around the late 80s that my step-pops put the video camera in my hand. That's where it went from photography to motion photography for me. Throughout high school, my years at East New York Transit Tech, it was kind of odd for me, this little young teenager walking around with this video camera. It wasn't just a video camera. It was a big-ass deck that you had to carry with you, with a big-ass cord. And through it all, nobody ever messed with me. That was a blessing. Man, shout out Jamie Hector, who I went to Transit Tech with. He plays Marlo in The Wire. So upon graduating high school, one of the first time I was ever considered a videographer was for my man K. Mel and Jimmy. They had a group together, and somehow they got on tour with the Fushnikins. At the time, the Fushnikins was hot. Fife was on the joint. They was doing shows. So when they got put on the bill, I traveled along with them. We went to Massachusetts and a couple other stops. That was an interesting ride. First time I hung around celebrities. And also got treated like one. People thought I was Fife at some of the spots. Interestingly enough, that night we got into an accident in the van. It was one of them old 15-passenger vans. That night was a blur. I got the pictures to this day. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me backtrack a little bit. It was 1986. I must have been 14 or 15. I started getting wind of this young director from Brooklyn. I think he was in his early 30s. He had just dropped this movie called She's Gotta Have It. 2 years later, dropped another one called School Days. That one struck me. It was the first time I ever went to a movie theater to see a movie by myself. Sunrise Cinema at the Green Acres Mall. I actually heard a story once about Salt and Pepper getting their chains stolen there. Rope chains at that. I walked out that movie theater confused. That wake-up scene threw me off. Like I know it did many other people. But it threw me off in a great way. What it did was make me change my vision. Think a different way. Most importantly, I saw somebody who was doing it big. Who looked just like me. Now let's fast forward on some Inception shit. I'm in my first year of college, Baruch College, 23rd Street. Sitting with a couple of people. By this time, the buzz of Malcolm X is already out on the streets. This was an ill day because this was the day that Magic Johnson revealed he had HIV. So the buzz was all about that day. A couple of friends said they were scheduled to be extras in Malcolm X that night. I simply asked, can I roll? We went to the Armory in Harlem, 145th Street. As we approached the Armory, I saw a whole line of people waiting in line and people getting checked in. I don't know what to think. This is the first time I'm on a set ever. So I get checked in. Good, they need the extras. Fill my name out. I'm officially an extra in Malcolm X. To make a long story short, that was 4 p.m. Fast forward, 4 a.m. We finally get called on set. It's a train scene. We're at the train station on 125th Street. It was an amazing sight to see. By this time, 12 hours in and I'm still high. Going through the process of putting on wardrobe, seeing all the actors around, meeting people, just getting into conversations. It was the first time for me. 4 a.m. we get put on set. It's a whole set. Everything was authentic to the era. Luckily, I had my homegirl Charlene with me. What up, Charlene? I remember this big dude. Guess he was a PA or something. He placed us inside the train station. Me and Charlene sitting there looking at everything amazed. Alright, hustle and bustle, we see Spike for the first time. This is amazing. He commands his set like a general. Everybody seems like they on their P's and Q's, giving their all. Side note, I noticed a bunch of people walking around wearing these jackets that said juice on it. I didn't know what it was about, but we'll get back to that later. Spike looks at us, tells the AD to place us. He puts us inside the train station. You have to imagine what's already going through my head. I'm living in a dreamland. Talking to Charlene quiets up. What happened? Turn around. There's this dude with a big purple suit on they placed right next to us. Took me a second to realize that was Denzel Washington. The moment wasn't already hot. This shit was lit. So to sum it up, for the next 2 hours, it's just us sitting there watching Denzel work. This man was Malcolm X. 2 hours later, the scene is done. We had some moments with Denzel. We talked, kept him in character. It was a moment, and I knew it. When it's all said and done, I walked off that set with a whole new perspective, a whole new vision. And with that new vision came a new manifestation. But we'll get back to that though. Yes, to be continued. Alright, when we come back, I'm gonna have that interview with UncuttArt.
The young ones, it's not that they all don't appreciate it, but I think being born into hip-hop and hip-hop is just here, it's a different kind of feeling for them. True. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
Well, when I got into HHDG, I was part of the group when it was just Inbox Thread. But I remember specifically, maybe like 2-3 years ago, there was a young person in the group, I don't know his name or whatever, but he was relatively young, like maybe like 19 or 20 years old. And I just remember specifically the conversation being around, like, oh, y'all young people, y'all don't understand. And all of us elders were talking about, I remember specifically, I cut my first 2 periods of college to go get life after death, because I knew that if I got out of class, it was gonna be gone. So I remember those experiences, and we were all talking about that in the group, and then this young person was like, yeah, hip hop is not that for us. You know what I'm saying? It's not nostalgic for us, it's just entertainment. And that was a turning point for me, because like I was straight up like the hating ass old chick, like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, I don't want to hear none of these new people, da-da-da-da-da. That was a turning point for me, for being able to not be mad at the young people and understand what music is to them. Like Damon said, like, they do take it for granted. I don't think they take it for granted maliciously. I just think that when you are born with certain things, like, they will never have a life without a cell phone. They will never have life without the internet. They will never have life without not having to memorize a phone number. It's not a diss to them, and it's not a diss to us. That's just the way things were, and this is just the way things have evolved. But if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. You know what I mean? Right. So I think that, you know, just keeping in mind with that, understanding that for young people, hip hop doesn't have that nostalgic like feeling. Like, there's certain songs to this day when I hear it, I cry.
Yes, as good art is supposed to do. Peace. This is T. Smif, the Smifsonian audio exhibits for the lovers of the culture. Alright, that was Simone Arabia at the HHDG event in Philly at Amalgam Comic Book Store, as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks back. Shout out Dan Dinkins at the Starting Five Podcast Network. Check his joints out also. Before we jump into this Uncut Art interview, definitely check me out on Instagram at TSmif. I'm on Twitter at TSmif. And you can check out the Facebook page at TheSmifsonian, all right? This interview was conducted in a undisclosed location, but definitely check it out. There's some gems there about street art, all right? If anybody knows Uncut Art, they know that he doesn't show his face.
No.
So this is
even on the radio interview.
Even in the radio interview, you know, he don't show his face. So you know what I mean. Let's give a quick introduction to who you are. Would you consider yourself a street artist?
Yes.
Is that how you would completely categorize yourself, as a street artist?
I would say yes, because street art tactics is what I chose to adapt my art to display it to the public. So therefore, I consider myself a street artist.
Now break that down. Street art tactics. Is this something that you had to be trained for? Is this information that passes from one street artist to another?
Yeah. And my form of gathering that information was on YouTube. And a lot of known street artists have been interviewed for their greatness and stuff that they've accomplished. And I've researched a lot of that because I know that that's what I wanted to do. So it started out as literally, I literally took about 2 years away from everything just to study this whole thing, just for me to come in and feel comfortable doing what I came in doing. I had to study it and get familiar with the lifestyle of a street artist. The mentality is a mentality that comes with it too, like a swift, not worry, not too much of, oh yeah, we ain't doing nothing wrong type of mentality. And I had to adapt that in order for me to become who I am. So yeah.
So where do you, a fresh uncut art, start in the game? Like walking out the door, putting your feet to the pavement, where do you start to go to on that path and journey of considering yourself a street artist?
The first step was kind of like trying to affiliate myself with other artists, whether they were street artists or any kind of artist, just to kind of get a feel of an artist feel. Because I was coming from the film world, film, fashion, music world, which we
could talk about.
Yeah, which is totally different from the art world. You know, the art world is the purity part of, because it's the purity part of everything else, I would say. You know, the real rawness of an artist can be, you can maintain your rawness as an artist that you can't maintain as a rapper or an actor or a dancer. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different world, you know. So for me, once I entered that world, I had to pretty much adapt to all the not caring about certain things. You know, I used to dress fresh. I still dress fresh, you know, but now I don't really care about looking fresh for nobody. You know what I'm saying? I look fresh for myself if I want to look fresh. If not, I have my sweats on, which have paint on it, and shoes that got paint on it, and all that, and I don't care, you know.
Would you consider that something sparked in you to make you rebel against that status quo that you said you were leaving from?
Yeah, a lot. Actually, I was working in a music studio, managing the studio, engineering, and doing all sorts of shit music-wise. Now I'm doing this, and I'm not doing design no more. I'm not doing that. But while I was in the studio, all I was doing was designs and starting plotting on how I'm going to take this shit over. So I spent time managing a recording studio, and between sessions, I was just working on designs and figuring out how am I going to take this shit over and what do I need. And that's where all this shit started, in that recording studio. And Protect Your Heart happened in the midst of the transition, like before I even started wanting to do art. I wanted to do art before I even plotted on how I was going to do the art. I created the heart, right? And I wanted to recreate the heart, and I wanted to be fierce.
So the heart was first?
Yeah, so I created the upside-down heart with the thorns.
Just like the body?
Yeah, so I created the heart with the thorns, and I looked at it, I'm like, yo, what does this represent to me? I'm like, yo, this heart look protected, because you can't touch a thorn. If you can't touch thorns, it's gonna cut you. You know what I'm saying? And this heart is thorn the fuck up.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was protected, and then that was the beginning of that. You know what I'm saying? And then like when it came time to figuring out how to bring the heart out, the quote just hit me, and the quote came out of just me meditating and me trying to figure out what words can I use to describe this heart and make it where people don't have no say-so in what the fuck this is. And I had to search energy-wise and figure out what energy and what words carry certain kind of energies that would bypass the brain activities. And Protect Your Heart was it. And it was just so ill when it came to me. It was just like, okay, this is it. Like, it just was like, yo, this is it. When you feel something is it, I was at that point of my life where I started, when I feel something, I know it was it. I knew it was it. You know what I'm saying? When you're a kid, you don't really know. But now I knew. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this feeling right here means this is it. And that's what I felt. And I just held on to it. I was like, yo, I got to figure out how now I'm going to present this to the world.
Yeah.
How? Because at that point, I was already starting to figure out my street art tactic and how I'm going to present that to the world, which was my art. Now, I wasn't worrying about Protect Your Heart because that wasn't considered my art. My art was the Michael Jackson, the Steve Jobs, the Biggie, and all that stuff. So I was working on those things. I wasn't working on Protect Your Heart.
Yeah. You are now at the point where Protect Your Heart, Y-O, Protect Your Heart is now an actual thing in your mind. Now is your flag. You know what I'm saying?
I just left it alone.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have the stamp. It didn't have the visual. It was just that, and I actually had it just where I just wrote it and just drew it with my pen, with my marker or whatever. So it was just that. But like I was saying, at the moment, the quote itself wasn't even like ready for the world, because I was still working, because I had a plot, man. Like Protect Your, like, you gotta understand, this is just minute. Protect Your Heart is just like a piece of the puzzle, and the puzzle's big. Like, you gotta understand, like, the first art that I put out, which was the Michael Jackson, because you gotta understand, like, the focus was on the art and the words and trying to get into these people's souls. And the first art that I had out on the Michael Jackson image that was on the street, it was like the words that says, all these strange pieces came together to create this beautiful image, and as humans, so can we. So that's what my art was representing, just like mad different pieces that was like strange and looking shit, and when it came together, it was like one dope image, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
But
and that became your motto.
Yeah, so it was like,
because that seems to be the theme on everything that you're doing.
Yeah, a picture with an image that goes with one of the pictures that I find personal, because like I like Michael Jackson, the young Michael. I find something about his story and how to touch people differently. I pick these characters for different reasons, and then I add words to entice the situation. Yeah. But what happened is this, right? In my studies, what I realized is that every great artist had their own art that they created, which I had my own, the art that I created, and they all had an ill tagline that they carried from the beginning to the end of their career. And that's where the Protect Your Heart came in, because I'm like, yeah, cool, now I need my own tagline. Right. And I was like, yeah, I got a couple. Now which one? Oh, now Protect Your Heart, that's a given. Yeah. Now how are we going to show it to the world? Yeah. I don't know yet. Let's figure this one out. Yeah. So I waited. And so I dropped Michael. So now, being that I came from the music world, I was dropping my art in the street like the music artist would. So I dropped Michael. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I had Michael all over New York, New Jersey, LA.
And you're talking about on the streets and on the sidewalks.
Yeah, that's where the street art part came in, because I realized that street art, the best way to get your art to the streets and to the people is to weed paste it. Unless you spray paint it, the next best thing is weed paste it. So I took pictures of all my paintings that I had created, and then I was pasting them just everywhere. All right. So now you get to see my paintings just like anybody else would. Yeah. So now you get to order it. You know what I'm saying? So I had it everywhere. So now that picture got viral like mad quick.
Through which mediums?
Internet, fucking Twitter, Instagram. People was Instagramming Michael everywhere. Jessica Parker Instagramming. Yeah. Spike Lee Instagramming.
Who was the first celebrity
that did? Who was the first celebrity that posted Michael Jackson? I I don't remember, but I know Sarah could just
Who's
Sarah
the first one that made an imprint?
on
Sarah
Michael.
Jessica-
Yeah,
Sarah.
Sarah Jessica Parker. She made
Yeah.
a big imprint on it because when she posted it, because she had a personal relationship with him. So she posted it and really wrote a story about it. And I actually went to meet her that same week and gave her a painting and everything. You know what I'm saying? But right
You
after
talk
that,
like that's normal though.
yeah, it's
Like that was just some shit you just did.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Alright.
Compared to all the stuff that I'm about to do,
Yeah,
yeah, that shit ain't nothing. Like, why am I, nigga, whatever.
Yeah,
you have no
'cause,
idea
like,
what I'm about to do.
I know off the top of my head, Madonna.
Yeah, but that's later on though. We're not even talking. We're not even talking about
So
this.
we ain't
we're
reached
not even
Madonna
there
level
yet.
yet. Okay, so
We
bring me
still-
back down to.
We still talking about my first single. My
Okay,
first
go
single
for
was
that.
the Michael. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Michael
And
went,
I went to 13th
Michael
album.
went platinum.
All right,
Michael
all right.
went platinum, gold. And on the flip side of Michael, I had Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
So Steve Jobs and Michael was in the streets together.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I even
And
went
just
to
to give a
Miami
little
and did a
context, real
big.
quick, but to give a little context to the audience, he's a street artist. You know what I'm saying? So, when he was using this medium to drop his messages. The first one you said was Michael.
Yeah, with the message.
With the
around it.
messages, which I seen around Brooklyn myself, like
Mm-hmm.
all different places like that. And then you went to Steve Jobs.
Yes, had
All right,
things
so
different
now,
in his head.
so now continue on, like.
Steve Jobs, I put him out there for the techies and the business people.
Gotcha.
Michael was for the kids and anybody from 3 years old to like 153 years old.
Yeah.
Young Michael would get you.
Well, side note, why, even today, if a baby's born today, they know who Michael Jackson is? Why is
Because
that?
Michael's like the core of what love and purity was in a sense, you know, because it's a lot of things he never really got to experience as a child, but there's a lot of things he got to create as a child. So he was able to take his purity to create what his legacy is. So like everybody want to be like Mike. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
In a sense, you know.
All right.
So when I thought about how can I get everybody to notice my art, because my art wasn't Michael, my art was how I created the Michael. So how can I get people to? Because I could create anything with my art.
Yeah,
So what can I use to get everybody to notice my art?
yeah,
And Young Mike was just like this is like a no-brainer.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So from there, I was like, okay, cool. Now I want to get the techie people that wasn't all about music and Young Mike because they were so busy being technical and business-minded. Let me go, because Steve Jobs is a very influential people in our era when it
Just as
comes to the
Michael is.
iPhone. Exactly. To this business, to the techies, and everybody that is on that wavelength. So boom, I dropped Steve Jobs, boom. So the following year, I had to come up with something that was just as dope as Mike,
Yeah.
but doper.
All right.
And that's when Protect Your Heart came in.
Okay.
Boom.
Long. So that's that.
I accidentally dropped it one day at a festival. I did a Protect Your Heart mural, and after the mural,
What festival was that? You
I
remember?
was at the Brooklyn Williamsburg Art Festival. It was
So
like
that
big shit
And that was the first time you did the Protect Your Heart.
in Brooklyn and Williamsburg. But the funny thing that happened
Remember
accidentally.
what year that was?
Yeah, that was like 3 years ago.
3 years ago? All
Yeah,
right.
2 years when I started
Alright.
Protect Your Heart.
All right.
It happened accidentally because I did my first Protect Your Heart stencil because they wanted me to do a mural. So I'm like, damn, I'm gonna do something big.
Yeah.
I did the Michael with some ill-driven paint. Which I OD'd, and I was like, yo, let me just introduce this new shit to people.
Yeah.
And I did this big stencil that says Protect Your Heart.
Yeah.
And I put it on the damn paper, on a mural. And it was just what it was. It was just that. But then it was up there with the quote, all these strange pieces, which was the Michael, but it was a Michael-inspired mural, but I threw the Protect Your Heart in there
Yeah.
just because I wanted to start seeing how people react to it. And then that same evening, when I was done with that stencil, I walked to the corner, not even to the corner, I walked to the sidewalk that we was right there, and I sprayed it on the floor,
Yeah.
and it just looked like heaven. I was like, yo.
Well,
And I
so
went and
was
sprayed it on all 3 corners of that block,
Yeah.
and then left.
All right.
A week later, this shit was viral, like not even
All for those 3.
all for those 3, it was
That you
viral
casually was
enough
walking
to
back.
know that it was time to hit the streets. So I went and created a nice smaller stencil,
Yeah.
and I just went on.
Yeah.
And the first person that within a week or 2, the first person that just acknowledged it so big was Madonna. Like, boom, she was on her tour. She was just about to start her Rebel Heart tour.
Yeah.
So she was all about Rebel Heart, Rebel Heart. So when she ran into that Protect Your Heart,
Yeah.
she just took that shit and ran with it.
Which one was it? You remember the location?
It was in Chelsea because I had to look at the streets and figure out. It was the one in Chelsea, probably the one. It was two options. It was one right there on 10th and 22nd, and there was another one on 24th between 10th and 11th.
How do you keep track of which ones or which street?
I used to have a system, but the system is fucked up now.
You just did.
I might start again because it's kind of like I could do fresh ones, but the system was every area had a different color.
All right.
A different color scheme for every area. So whenever the pictures pop up, I know what area it's coming from.
All right.
So I did area. I didn't know streets. And then, you know, based on what the pictures look like, I know what street it's on.
Yeah. Because it amazed me when I seen some in Jersey City, not just in Manhattan and not just in Brooklyn.
Or not
different
just
parts
in
where I
LA,
saw
or not
some-
just in Vegas, or not just in DC, or not just in Philly, or not just in Connecticut, or Boston. And it's everywhere. Miami, Fort Lauderdale,
Yeah.
Orlando.
Yeah.
I'm making my way around the world. It's
I-
me by myself, so it's taking a little minute, but I'm
Yeah.
making my way around.
Yeah. So I have one simple question. Why?
Why? Protect your heart, man.
What is the message that you're trying to get across with this?
It's not even a message. It's just a reminder. I consider it a reminder because we all know this shit. That's what I'm gonna say. We all know this. This is not nothing new. But people be trying to hide from, you know, shit that we know. So like, I know a lot about energy, and I know a lot, like, about how frequency and all that stuff works. And I know how collectively we are connected. So by me putting something out there that can affect somebody's frequency and energy and raise it to a different place, that's just like endless love for myself. You know, it's like showing so much love and appreciation for who and what I am, because I appreciate the next person just as much, and then I allow the next person to see it so they could appreciate the next person just as much. It's like we missing this part. That's why nothing works. People could come up with so much. You could come up with every goddamn group, like No Love Matters or whatever matters or whatever, Black Society, and you could come up with as many societies and groups and shit you think you're gonna save the world with. You cannot save the world by creating things from exterior. You gotta save the world by saving the world from the inside. And people don't even know what the world is. Michael said it, my nigga, like, we are the world. So as soon as you open your mouth and talk about the world, you're speaking about we. Because we are the fucking world. So you can't change the world unless you change we. You know, and people don't understand that. And what I'm doing is I'm making it easy for the people that's creating all these dope systems and all these dope programs for us for those systems and programs to work, because they would never work until somebody allows it to work. So by focusing on the heart, it gives an individual, it just makes them remember the fact about who and what they are. It starts the conversation of what about the heart? Why the heart? And who's the heart? And that's what we need. That's what I want. I want to start spark that conversation, because everything lies there. Like, the energy that you send out is what you're going to get back. And how you treat your heart physically and spiritually is how you're going to, you know, the universe is going to treat you back. Yeah. So it's like I said in one of those interviews that I had with Newsy.com, Protect Your Heart was my answer to everything. Yeah. No matter what the fucking issue was, it went back to you're not taking care of your own personal views of life, and that's why you're missing out on life, because you're so busy looking at everybody else's views that you're missing out on your own personal dopeness that's happening. Yeah. So it's so much to it, but it starts with that. You know? So yeah, I wanted, and it starts, like I said, and that's why it's going to be important for me to have my own show, because then I get to really break it down.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have your own show?
Yeah, these guys, and you know, offer me my own show that I used to work with, and I'm considering it too, and I think it's a dope idea. Like, they brought it to my attention. And I've been thinking about it, but it was just so hard for me to to conceptualize something like that because I'm so busy being who I am. But you know, you need a supporting staff to do some shit like that, and I think I've found some people that can support that shit.
Well, you
so
know what?
I might make it happen.
You got a listener in me.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, so I want to talk about the future. All right. Now you at this point now, at this moment, this second, and this centered in your space in the universe at this moment, looking forward, you have docs made on you at this point. You have had your imprint by superstars like Madonna, J-Lo, people tweeting and Instagram and Facebook and your art to represent a message that they're trying to relay.
People don't know that though.
These are people that have reached out to you. If they saw you on the street, people would just think you just a Brooklyn cat just walking around with your dreads, but not knowing that you essentially created this lineage of fan base beyond people's imagination. You understand what I'm saying? So now with that, you at this space now, people starting to recognize you. They don't recognize you because you hide your face.
Yeah, they just know the brand. Yo, I just found out that the post is, I mean, like, first of all, people post this shit every day. Like, every day. At least 10.
You did a hashtag? How many?
The hash 6 mil. They posted this shit from their own whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's been, and then each person have views and likes beyond likes. So I'm good.
Who's the most surprising person that took a picture of your art and posted it?
Surprising?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised anymore, but let me see things.
The most iconic thing.
Oh, iconic, yeah. Madonna, that's my favorite. Madonna, because Madonna did more than just take a picture. She never took a picture with it. She took a picture, posted it, right? Mm-hmm. She took that picture, she used that picture in her tour thing, big Megatron screen shit. So every show she did, she showed mad her home personal pictures before she started her show. Protect Your Heart was up there, right?
At every Madonna show.
At every Madonna show.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I've been told that. I still haven't received a video of that yet, but I've been told that by numerous people.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, I just recently sent her 3 hats. Just, not even saying anything with it. I didn't send no thank you card, nothing. I was like, I know her DJ, and the DJ was like, yo, they're picking up some stuff from Madonna. I'm like, yo, I got 3 hats. She'll love it because she love Protect Your Heart, and I know she love it.
Yeah.
And I sent her that, and like a week later, she posted the hat with her daughter wearing it. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And then she was on her IG story wearing the hat and talking and doing what she do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, she don't know me, but she knows my energy. You know what I'm saying? She knows where I'm from. And that's all she needs to know. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, y'all should meet though.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Meet Madonna. If I meet Madonna, see, so many things that I would want to do. I would probably just do what needs to be done now. Like, yo, let's sit down and figure out how we're gonna, put this thing right here into action. How can you magnify what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Right.
All the other shit in the past is cool.
Yeah.
Let's move forward.
Well, Madonna, if you listening,
yeah, Madonna, listen to my man's show.
Holla at your man. Let's make some history happen.
Word. She hollered at me though. Like, that's not. Let me tell you something that I realized about energy, yo. And I'm at that point right now. Anything that I want to happen will happen. Can and will happen. That's just like, and that's the thing that I want to help people understand about life. Like, we're the creators of our own shit. People be acting like they're asking life, can I do this? Or can I be the one to be famous one day? No, motherfucker, you tell the motherfucker what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You dictate this shit. This is your shit. So I've learned to not want things that I know that I don't want, or I've learned to control my mind. I've learned to think about positive things that I want in my life, and everything that I want has happened, and it's gonna keep happening, and I'm gonna be manifesting bigger and better things, and that's the goal.
Right.
To just help people understand how to manifest their own shit, so they can stop wanting everybody else's shit and think that it's like not enough for everybody when it's really way more than enough for everybody.
Gotcha. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Way more stuff to talk about, but
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, let's put a bow on top.
Bow.
Energy.
Yes.
Energy. Like, what is the goal? What is your goal in advancing people's energies?
Goal is to make people understand.
I even have a better way to frame that.
Go ahead.
What is your intent with the art that you're creating, and what do you want to change?
I want to change the ratio. It's like, for example, your soul inside of a body, right? And people, so it's like it could be half and half. You know, you could ratio it how you want to, but we're living 80% human life and 20% soul life. I want to flip that. If we could live 80% soul life and 20% human life, that's God-like to the T, because the thing about what I want people to realize is that part of them, they need to lean more towards, because that's where the answers to all their damn questions are. You know, and stop thinking more like a human, more like a soul. So using my art to break down that human virus that's in people's brain is what my intent is with the art. And then open up that conversation to that other part of them that's being tingling, that's tingling up with the art and with the verbals and things that is encompassing the things that I bring about. So it's just trying to open up that chakra, open up that third eye, and then keep it open. You know what I'm saying? Wake them up differently. You know what I'm saying? Smack them open, throw water in their face while they sleep. Like, I'm not about all that nice shit. Nah, nigga, I'm throwing water in your face, you sleep, wake up. You ain't got no time to be sleeping. So,
you consider yourself a global healer of sorts, I guess?
A spiritual healer.
Spiritual healer?
I wouldn't say a healer. I don't heal nothing. I would say I'm a connector. I just connect you back with yourself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you disconnected a little bit, you know? And I'm what's the word? There's a word, too, for what I have. I'm a lot of shit, but mostly is I can read energy, and I know how that shit works. And I know how it affects our entire universe. And if I can do something about it, I will. And that's it.
Bomb. Period.
Yep.
There you go. Appreciate. You know, y'all stick around. We got more show with the Smifsonian, but let me say peace to the brother here. Come back.
Yo, the Smifsonian, that shit sounds so dope.
Yeah, man.
Make me feel like I'm in London, and behind me is like a whole, like a row of trees, like it's like in a maze or something like that. And I'm about to go downstairs and have tea and watch a horse race.
All right, we be back.
Yep, about to go watch a horse race.
They use it and suck it dry and then throw it to the side. You know what I'm saying? Where there's no real appreciation for it. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like sometimes hip hop, they don't make it sound like hip hop didn't even get it popping. It'll be like, y'all see it. You know what I'm saying? They'll show one of the Jenner girls with rocking cornrows. You know what I'm saying?
Boxer braids.
And call them boxer braid. Like women ain't been, like black women ain't been rocking it and made it famous.
Speaking of that though, the
already.
new fashion in the summer is rocking Tim's, construction Tim's.
Oh my God! How about when they tried to coin hot
Facts,
to Paris
B.
Hilton because she was saying it's hot all the time during that bullshit reality show they tried to coin saying that's hot to Paris Hilton at one time. You know what I mean? Like we wasn't saying that all this time.
Or Ryan Lochte stealing MCH Gia. Gia on the TV show. But anyway.
But you want to know something, man?
But
like there's no counsel to go to them and say you violating. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we don't have no.
We need a classic.
We have no policing system. We have no government.
We need a classic Wu-Tang to come back where niggas used to run up and you would get done.
Punch niggas in the face for living.
Axe Joe.
But you feel what I'm saying? Like we don't have no rite of passage for hip hop heads to turn into hip hop heads and then holding down the responsibility of rules and regulations of the culture. No, we don't have. And then if you try to present something, you ain't my daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of attitude. Like you can't tell me what to do. I'm doing what it's like the only culture that you can get away with doing anything and say I'm hip hop, and you know what I'm saying? So we have to have some type of regulation. Yeah. It's the same thing Jay said. There's no council. You know what I'm saying?
All right, true. So that was dope, man. Make us a little noise for that.
Yes, welcome back. This is the Smifsonian audio exhibits for the lovers of the culture. I just want to say before we get up out of here, definitely go to my Instagram at TSmif. Go to my Twitter at TSmif. All right. Before I leave, you know, the most important thing that I try to do with this show is just give a little flavor of what's going on outside of the top surface. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people that I have on, these are people that's on the ground doing things, people behind the scenes doing things. There's a whole level of people that move the culture along and that you'll never even hear about. So I try to bring those stories to light. And in part, as you heard earlier, took a stab at storytelling with my own life. So I'll do more of those if you want. All right? If you want to hit me up, it's tsmif@gmail.com. Love the animals, take care of the bees, define your existence. I'm out.